Hello everyone, welcome back to the series. We're getting Ryu from rookie all the way up to master, one grade at a time, and we're nearly there. We're up to Diamond 3. Should be a pretty quick video, just going to be adding 2 extra combos to your arsenal. They shouldn't take too long to get practiced and even to get integrated into your game, and they're really quite optimal in terms of damage. Like, these guys add at least 500 extra damage to some combos, and they're not particularly hard to do. I don't think they're strictly necessary to get to master. I didn't really use them on the way to master, but I sort of regret that. I think that these are really quite worth integrating into your arsenal. So the first one is the jump out combo, and it looks, well, I call it that anyway, and it looks like this. Nice, 3,500 damage. That is really quite a lot of damage. And I really like it as well in this situation because it's a way to use level 1 super, which Ryu doesn't get to use very often. And it's a way that uses level 1 super to get really quite a lot more damage. So if you use Dragon Punch instead, you're going to get about 800 less. Yeah, 2720. The other problem is that you didn't get that in the hit stop section of the Dragon Punch, what's called the sweet spot. So if you Dragon Punch when your opponent's really close to the ground, you get that pause of the screen, that's the hit stop, and then you get the 1400. Whereas if you hit someone really high with the Dragon Punch, let's try out here, then you only get 800, and that's because you're not in that sweet spot for damage. What that does mean though, is that if you can get a level 3 super to connect, you won't get the animation. Now, I actually prefer getting the super without the animation, but it's quite hard to do. The reason why I prefer it is that you get less damage, but you get Oki. Remember that Ryu has no Oki after his level 3 super. Let's have a look. Oh, he's on block all. So let's have a look at Ryu's situation here. So you get the animation, you're way back here, and Ryu's kind of what's wrong, get up animation only ends as your opponent's standing up. So there's no way for you to effectively drive rush in. We talked about that from the previous video. One option is to kind of creep forward and try doing this space trap. Now, if you don't get the animation, you will get slightly less damage, but you'll also just end up on top of your opponent in the corner. So you get much better Oki. So one situation where this can happen is here. Oh, but you will whiff a lot, so be careful. There we go, and we're right on top of him. Yeah, so we can time a meaty, and that's giving you 4,000 damage. Now, an extra 600 damage relative to level 1 is not a lot, but you do get Oki. You will, however, also get Oki after level 1. So unless that level 3 is really going to kill, I'd probably just go for the level 1. Level 1's going to be more consistent as well. Now let me give you one hot execution tip. So you want to just let both hits of the medium punch rock. That shouldn't be too hard. Cancelling into the OD shouldn't be too hard. The part that I always stuff up is that I don't wait long enough after I hit the ground. So you think, well, my tendency is after I've done the OD Tatsu to wait until I've recovered from an OD Tatsu and then do level 1 super, but usually you're doing OD Tatsu down here where you recover much faster. If you're doing it up in the air, you've got to let Ryu hit the ground off screen and then complete his landing animation, which takes longer than you might think, and then cancel into the super. So my basic advice is just wait an eternity. Like, you really think that you've dropped the combo, but you haven't. Just wait, and then do your level 1 super. You can input the directions pretty early, but you have to delay that punch, right? You have to delay the punch, wait ages for it to happen. All right, so how are we going to practice this move? So one way to do it is just to do it around your frame trap. So around your fireball trap, I mean. So just set yourself up around here, and then note that you can't do it as part of the fireball trap. So if you're actually fireball trapping, it's not going to work. So I would just use this to practice the technique in the first place. So just fireball, watch them jump, do the move, and then complete your super. And so for that, you just need the block reversal to be forward jump. Right? Pretty easy stuff. And just do it till you're really consistent with that combo. Then you want to try to get this into a more realistic situation. Now there will be times when you're throwing fireballs here, and that's a time to look for your opponent, but usually you'll be looking to just do a dragon punch. And if you're fireball trapping, you can still get the dragon punch out, but they're too low in their arc for you to be able to jump against them. So this is more gonna come up when you're just like bumming around here in the neutral. So the kind of situations we want are sort of heavy punch walking backwards. That's the kind of situation you want. So practice that. Practice as though you just done this sort of thing. Bonk. Yeah, that's a nice one. Or when you do this. Oh, see, there I just didn't wait. You got to wait longer. Wait an eternity before you do level 1 super. But so I just have him walking around like that. I just have myself walking around, I should say. And then trying to get a bit more realistic there. And then once you've gotten comfortable with that sort of thing, then we need to make it more realistic so that we're not just always jumping. So sometimes have him forward jump, sometimes having vertical jump, in which case your jumping's not going to work, which is quite awkward. Sometimes have him just blocking after he blocks, and then sometimes have him do some sort of fake move like Psycho Spark, right? Actually, Ed wouldn't Psycho Spark after he blocks. What's something that he would do after he blocks? He might jab. What's his... Yeah, he would do light kick. Because light kick is one of Ed's most broken moves. Yeah, that's the one. Is that the one I want? No, I think I meant crouching light kick. Let me just check what that one is. Yeah, that's the one. That move is busted good. Alright. So now we want to just be walking around blocking, forcing a block. And when he jumps up like that, we want to execute our combo. And if Ed doesn't jump up, or he doesn't jump forward rather, then we don't want to be doing it. Oosh, not my best, but it wasn't too bad. Well, I was too early on the super again. I'm always too early on the super. Yeah, see there I don't think I actually got enough height to do the combo. You do need to be pretty quick on it and get the medium punch up. So anyway, just have a play around with that drill. It's not too complicated. You're just looking for that situation where he jumps out of his own volition and jumps forward. And then you want to complete the combo in a way I did not do there. It's a really nice way to get 3500 and be able to cash out level 1 supers with Ryu, which is a real privilege, not something you get to do often with Ryu. The next combo I want to talk about is something that we used to do heaps when we introduced wall splats, but then we changed our wall splat combo. So nowadays when we wall splat, we usually do this, right? Because it gets you the safe jump, and I do love a good safe jump. But the original wall splat combo was this. Right, and that's quite a nice little sequence. It does good damage. Now the thing is, you can do that sequence off Hashogeki juggles in the corner. So you can do it off heavy Hashogeki, really obviously. But heavy Hashogeki doesn't come up very often. It only really comes up when your opponent is waking up and you are shimmying him. So that is one thing we can try. We can practice... Where have we got it? Normal throw on an 8-frame delay on wake up. Boom. Nice one. Alright, now that did 3,490 damage. What would happen if we cut the Hashogeki out of that? Alright, 3,130. Okay, so we got a bit over 300 extra damage there, which is nothing to be sniffed at, 350 extra damage. But there are some circumstances in which this will convert to even more damage than that. And so I think it is worth having it in your arsenal, particularly off the light Hashogeki. So practice this in 2 ways. One is off this shimmy combo. Oosh, I am bad at this, fam, I tell you what. And then you want to make sure that he's not always shimmying, right? We also want to just basically integrate this into our shimmy drill. So sometimes he's going to vertical jump, sometimes he's going to forward jump, sometimes he's going to block, sometimes he's just going to do crouch light punch, right? Alright, and you can do heavy DP into the super. Really good scaling because it's just punish counter into heavy, 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 heavy. So 5,500 damage. Absolutely colossal damage. The only execution suggestion I have for you, I find it just more straightforward to do heavy punch rather than crouch heavy punch. But then crouch heavy punch is a little bit more lenient on how fast you do this, because sometimes you won't recognize, particularly when you're doing light Hashogeki, that you've got the juggle. So then if you drop down and do the Hashogeki there, you'll get a better pop-up. Or you'll have a bit more leniency to pick them up off the ground, whereas heavy punch, you have to catch them while they're still pretty high in the air. But I find this motion, like drive rush crouch and then drive rush crouch cancelling into medium Hashogeki, I find that quite awkward on my fingers. So I tend to just do heavy punch into medium Hashogeki, and then you can go into heavy dragon punch. And it's pretty lenient, like you really don't need to go into medium dragon punch just to have more frames in which to execute it. So the first drill we want to do is with the shimmy. And I tend to find that you want to be pretty slow on the Hashogeki. So drive rush in and press heavy punch. And when you see your heavy punch come out, then do the Hashogeki, and you'll cancel it well in time. Whereas if you're really like rushing the Hashogeki cancel, you'll often just drive rush in and do Hashogeki, and that sucks. Right? That doesn't work at all. So first do it there off the heavy Hashogeki in the shimmy, and I think you'll find that easier. Then change it up. So change it to wake up reversal, crouching light punch, backwards, or vertical jump. And now we're going to practice it with our light tatsu. And in this situation, I think you actually want Ed to start a little bit further out, because remember that in the corner, we wouldn't be using light tatsu in the corner, we'd be using light donkey kick. And we don't want to change our mental model, right? So if we're used to doing this wake up string in the corner, then we don't suddenly want to start practicing doing this. That'll just mess us up, right? So we do get light tatsus into the corner sometimes from about here, right? Could be all sorts of stuff that we're doing, but in any case, we're going to save the state here, do our light tatsu, do our wake up oki with light Hashogeki for the juggle, and then we're going to go into the same sort of combo. And when you're starting out, of course, just have it always be the one that you're looking for. Oops, see, I didn't get the cancel right there. Boom. Nice. And you can practice doing level 1 super as well. Nice. That gets you 3244, which is about, again, 350 damage more than if you'd done the dragon punch. So as we talked about in our Diamond 1 video, if I remember correctly, we want to do meter optimization. No, that was Platinum 5. So sometimes if that 300 is going to get us the kill, then we want to bust out that level 1 super. But mostly, yeah, you're just going to be drive rushing, getting the Hashogeki in, and doing the dragon punch. I don't think that any of the donkey kicks in this situation will get you the safe jumps as they usually would, right? So don't bother with that. So this is just a situation if we get a light Hashogeki oki in the corner, and then we'd probably go straight into our safe jumps or our throw loop pressure with Ryu. Once you're comfortable doing that, then you want to go back to the original drill that we used to learn this Hashogeki pressure. So you have crouching light punch, that's when you get the blow up, that's where you get the juggle, that's where you want to practice this combo. Sometimes he's also just going to block, and then we want to make sure that we're using light punch to press our 2-frame advantage and try to get a counter hit. But then we're also going to have him do vertical jump and forward jump, because in those situations we won't get the counter hit and we'll just have to go straight away into the Tatsu, okay? So, but then he's going to wake up and get hit by the Hashogeki, but he's not going to get juggled, remember? Those are the ones that you've got to react to. The hit where he gets juggled, the hit where he doesn't get juggled, and then the one where he just blocks and we don't get the hit at all. Oh, that was strange. I wonder why I was slow there. Nice. Good work, Ed. Ah, see, I wasn't on point. That's why we got to practice. Make sure you practice getting that level 3 super out. I can't tell you how many matches I've lost because I dropped a super at some point. Or I didn't get the super out, I just sat there with my bar. Alright, so that's the drill. I was a bit slow that time. Alright, so you get the picture. And just be grinding that out for half an hour, and I think you'll have this in your arsenal in no time. And you'll get an extra 500 damage off your Hashogekis in the corner, and then that jump out combo, that'll really get you a lot of damage. That's like more than twice what you would get for doing a dragon punch in those kind of situations. Alright, see you in Diamond 4.